Yeah, nice to have a little catch up with you. I haven't spoken to you since Manny Oilike, or whatever you want to call his surname is, but he's joined you, and well pleased with that one, first of all.
Yes, I'm pleased with that signing because he's a player that did well last season at Aldershot, and he's at the right age, and he's obviously determined to play in the Football League again, where he started at Brentford and then obviously he's been at Exeter, and we feel that he's going to give us good competition in midfield.
There are players like that, aren't there? Desperate to get another chance, and I think that's been part of your sort of recruitment this particular time, to have a look at one or two hungry players.
Well, let's be honest, we're not going to go and get a midfield player from the Premier League, or you've got to cut your cloth accordingly, and we've got to look around at all leagues. But I feel that a step from where Aldershot were playing last season to this league is certainly one that players can do. And like I say, you want players, if you can, that are hungry, they want to do well, and he fits into that category. Like I say, I think you need to have a balance. Your team can't be full of old players who've been playing in non-league, but there's certainly certain ones who can make that adjustment. What
does he bring? What is he?
Well, he can do a bit of everything really, but it's going to be dependent on how we want to play ourselves. But he's comfortable on the ball. He's strong. Got a lot of energy. Can cover the ground, and he's really what you need in a midfield player. But he's comfortable on the ball, and like I say, he works hard.
Where we are now, sort of towards the middle of June, or is it towards the middle of June? Are you satisfied with how it's going so far, recruitment wise?
I think you always set out to sign players. You hope you're going to get them over the line quickly, but in reality, you know that it doesn't happen. But I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to have the majority of players in place for when we start back pre-season training, rather than be preparing without the main players that I need. So I think we've still got time to get players in. We know we need more players in. I need to get more people into the club who've scored goals, and that's what I'll be trying to do over the next few weeks. But certainly when we report back on the 28th, I would like to have as many of my players in place as possible.
Supporters have been waiting for you to come back off your holidays, off your break, with any news. Is there anything happening? There's been a few names sort of linked and speculated towards the Vale. Have you got anything concrete for them?
Well, people will speculate and people will make up their own stories. You only go on holiday in the fact that you maybe leave the country or leave where you live, but you don't go on holiday as such, because there's not been a day where you don't take a phone call or a text or be discussing with a certain players, and that's continued over the last couple of weeks. And we're at the stage now where I'm expecting something to happen certainly over the next 2 weeks, but I think that got to be careful what you say, because obviously there's a lot of speculation, and if I mention any names they tend to always come out in the somewhere along the line. All I would say at the moment is that I'm confident that we're making progress, and I would expect to make a couple of signings in the next couple of weeks.
So the people that you've been talking to, you're getting a good feedback, are you?
I think you can always get good feedback, but as we all know, until they've signed, it makes no difference. But it is it's a process which takes time. But I'm not sat here panicking at the moment.
In terms of your pre-season games, 7 games sorted out, done and dusted. Happy with how that's all panned out for you now, from starting at Redditch to when you finish against Newcastle Town?
Yeah, because we've also probably got a couple of other games that we might play in that, as well as those 7 games. So I've certainly got enough games. I'm conscious of the fact that if you've got a squad of, say, 22, 24 players, you need to have extra games as well, because you're not always going to get everybody on the pitch for those games. So we need to make sure that all the squad has had enough games before we start the season. So we'll have a couple of other games where I've spoken to people. We might play on another team's training ground or elsewhere, but we'll have other games as well, so we're getting the players enough game time before the season starts.
And a trip over to Dublin as well, but no games. Tell us a little bit what's behind that.
I think because we're going to end up with a number of new players. I think it's important that the players spend some time together. The best chance to do that is to take them away for a few days. We didn't want to travel too far. It's somewhere where Gary Brabham's taken Tranmere when he was manager, and he spoke really well of where they stayed and the facilities that they could use to train. I know the club itself has been to Ireland quite a bit as well, so it ticks a lot of boxes. And we can play a game if we want while we're there, which we're debating whether we want to do that or not. But it's a case that the players will have to work, but they need to bond as well, because the key to having any success next season will be having a good dressing room. You're not going to sign 11 world beaters, you're not going to have 11 world beaters in the team, but what you need to have is a good team spirit. You're going to have players who get on well. You need to have players who are going to work hard for each other and hard for the club, and if you can get that, then you can give yourself a chance. But they certainly need to fight for each other, and you hope that spending a bit of time together just helps in that process. How
do you gauge that then when you're talking to new signings, that they've got that right character, they're going to be in a good dressing room?
I think there's some players you talk to and all they want to talk about is what they're going to get paid, and we all know that. And there's some players that by having the conversation and by speaking to their agent and that, you can tell that that's the only thing on the mind, whereas other players will be a lot more specific in asking where they're going to play or what role they're going to do, and I think you get a feel for it. But you obviously speak to other people. You have to speak to other people. You speak to other players who they've played with. You try and get a feel for it and feel for the player, and then you take it from there. You're not going to get everybody's character right, but you hope, in enough cases you do, and then you can put together a squad that's going to do well.
A couple of weeks ago, before those fixtures are out, you know exactly how League Two pans out now. It looks to be fairly closely knit, doesn't it, in terms of the geography of it all?
No, geography-wise, it's like a northern league, and obviously coming from the conference where it was a southern-based league and a lot of travelling, it's obviously a lot better in that respect, better for supporters as well. There's a lot of away games that they can go to, so I think it's a good league, competitive league, but it's a league that you need to perform at 100% every week, otherwise you don't get any results.